Good afternoon, everyone. Today I'm chatting with Rudi Fronk from Seabridge Gold. Folks, it's not that often I get off my butt and drive downtown to do an interview, but when Rudi is in town, I can't help myself. Seabridge, in my opinion, is one of the most exciting multi-billion-dollar gold stocks you can buy in the market. They were recently ranked as having the #1 gold project in the world, according to mining.com. And they have an exploration team that, as Rudi puts it, he would put up against anyone in the world. You look at Courageous Lake, which is their second asset, and it is one of the largest undeveloped gold projects in Canada on its own. And it's basically an afterthought to the KSM project, which is what we're mostly going to talk about today. Folks, enjoy the interview. I'm joined with Rudi Fronk from Seabridge. Rudi, thanks for doing this.
Steve, great to be back in the chair next to you.
Well, look, there's not too many companies that when we offer to do an interview and they say, why don't you come down to our office, that I actually leave my house in Ajax for. But I hear Rudi's in town from Denver, and it's an opportunity that I have to take. And right now, I think it's such a great time to have you on, because the big talk out of Canada is Mark Carney and the new Major Projects Office. We've seen 11 projects added to the list, many of which are related to the Golden Triangle. 5 of those projects are mining related. One is a gold project, gold copper project in the Golden Triangle, the Red Chris mine extension. And another one of those projects is bringing transmission lines out to the Golden Triangle. So I'd like to start off by asking you about your thoughts on the Major Projects Office, if you guys have been in contact with the federal government in Canada, and what you think needs to happen for Seabridge to be added to that list.
Well, a great question. So both of our projects in BC, Iskut and KSM, have been added to the critical metals project list, both federally and provincially. It's great to see the sponsorship and the recognition of these large projects that are still going through development. I mean, KSM is, in fact, is the largest of all the projects in not only in Canada, but in the world in terms of gold content, and also third largest in copper. So I do believe that, KSM, when we finally name who our partner will probably be added to that list in terms of major projects.
Now, I don't know, I know you live out of Colorado, and I don't know how closely you follow Canadian politics, but do you think that Mark Carney understands the bottlenecks that exist within mining?
I think so. Look at KSM now. We've been working on this project for well over 20 years. We've taken this project through the environmental assessment process. We have the endorsement of the larger Indigenous groups in the region. But it's a long road to get a project through exploration, engineering, and permitting. And recognizing that if there can be some, I wouldn't say shortcuts, but reducing the timeline to get things done, I think that's a big positive.
So you've been working in mining since, I can see we've got your degree here from Columbia University. You've been working in mining for what, over 3 decades, I assume?
Actually, over 4 now.
After 4 decades. And you've seen sort of how the industry's changed over the years. Something that I often hear people talk about when they think about the idea of a commodity super cycle and what's going to move the dial is this idea that the old low grade is the new high grade. And I'm curious, when you think about going out there and finding a discovery, how has your thought process changed over the years in terms of what moves the dial?
Well, I mean, clearly metal prices help make perhaps lower grade deposits more economical as the metal prices go higher. No question about that. I think one of the big issues we face in our industry right now is we need more talent to come into the industry. Unfortunately, mining is thought of negatively in younger education years, and we need to do more to actually educate how important mining is to everyday life to bring more people in focus and into the industry.
I think about that. I have 2 young kids at home, and I often think geology is the perfect industry to get into, because AI is going to change most industries around the world. And I think that that's a real risk, whatever anybody wants to get into. But in the case of geology, still what's going to move the dial are people spending their summers in camps going around hitting rocks with hammers, not somebody sitting on a desk running some models.
100% agree. I mean, one of our key focuses over the years has been on the exploration side. Our team has found more gold and copper over the past 20 years than any company on the planet. And that all starts with geologists. I mean, I would put our exploration team up and our geologist up against any team in the business.
So you guys recently hit some big drill intercepts on the Iskut property on the Snip North Zone. What can you tell us?
Hundreds of meters of continuous mineralization of gold and copper at grades that are reminiscent of the reserve grades we have at KSM. So stay tuned on this one. We think it's going to be a monster. We bought this project back in 2016 with the view that it could be another KSM. The more work we do on it, the more time we spend on it, we're more and more convinced that this is another potential KSM.
The court hearings over the petitions challenging your substantially started designation are now completed. What can you tell us about the process and what happens next?
Well, we're very pleased with the responses that came in from the government, looking at whether they actually were consulted properly with the Tsawwaski-Kamaha, one of the petitioners, and whether the government was correct in granting us the designation. We went through a 10-day court process on that, and we expect a decision by the judge sometime in Q1 of 2026.
So you guys are also dealing with litigation from Tudor Gold over the KSM tunnels. Where does that stand today?
They have now, I think, last count, they have 3 different petitions filed against the project. They've been opposed to our tunnel routes there since they came into the project almost in 2015. What people forget is we had all of the authorizations already in hand when Tudor came into it. We've made it very clear that if they actually can show a viable project that can be economically extracted and permitted, we can sit down with them and try and find, is there a solution to avoid a portion of their deposit that allows them to mine what they have permitted. They have not shown a viable project yet. They've been talking about a PEA now for 10 years, and we've yet to see one.
How expensive are these tunnels going to be to build?
I think in terms of the capital cost estimates, it's about $1 billion of the $6.4 billion to construct the tunnels.
In late October, you guys announced a $4.4 million refund from the CRA after challenging a tax ruling. I'm curious for yourself as a CEO of a pretty successful gold development company, what have you learned about the Canadian mining tax environment?
They like to get money back if they can, and they do it in ways that are not appropriate. And so we've had 2 challenges now, one in BC in particular, which we won on, and the judge ruled in our favor on everything, and actually not only ruled in our favor, but we got paid interest and costs. There's a larger situation now in Ottawa by the CRA, where I think we have $11 million we've actually deposited on behalf of our shareholders in support of reassessments they received. And we should have that decided hopefully in the not too distant future. It's essentially the same arguments made by BC that we won lock, stock, and barrel on.
Do you feel like these disputes have become more common in recent years than they were, say, 20 years ago?
In my experience, I find that as a project moves closer to reality and to production, that's when you get all these challenges that come out of the woodwork. I've seen it in my career in other projects I built globally, and it's just, again, a recognition on how real this project now is.
Okay, so Rudi, last question for you, and this is the big question that I think people want to know when they watch a video like this. How are the partnership discussions going?
They're going very well. You know, we started a formal process a little over 2 years ago with RBC Capital Markets. We initially had 7 companies engaged in the process. When we received substantially started designation in August of 2024, we reduced that to 3 finalists. We've now moved forward with those 3 finalists. Just recently, all 3 of them came to site to do their final site visits, and we are now in discussions on terms with our preferred partner. So stay tuned. We do expect to have an announcement on that in the not too distant future. And when I do, I think we're going to see a significant unlocking of value in our share price.
All right. Well, Rudi, thanks for sitting down to do this. I don't recommend many gold stocks to my mom. She bought shares of you guys a year ago. She's very happy now. So keep it up so my mom doesn't get mad at me.
Happy to do so. Thanks, Steve. Always good to be sitting with you.
All right, everybody. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this interview, do me a favor. Smash that like button, subscribe, and ring that notification bell. Also, if you want more mining content, check out our website over at thedeepdive.ca.